Okay, we have already discussed the relationship requirement. Now we are going to discuss about what is called the income requirement for spouse visa of UK. For income requirement, let me tell you one thing. You need to make sure you enclose your 3 sets of documents. Number one is going to be your pay slips. You need to enclose your 6 months pay slips. And your income should be £18,600 gross income for 1 year. And if you are enclosing your 6 months pay slip, it's going to be half of that amount, which will prove your full year income, £18,600 gross income, which means before the tax. So when you enclose your 6 months pay slips, you will also need to enclose your bank statement showing the right amount is coming to your bank account, and this is showing the exact amount which is already mentioned in your pay slips. So your pay slips, 6 months your bank statement, as well as letter from your employer. This is very important. If you do not enclose letter from your employer, your application will be refused. You need to make sure you get the letter from employer. Your employer need to mention what's the nature of your employment, whether it's permanent, what's your NI number, and how you meet £18,600 income, and what are your responsibilities. Which date did you started the employment, and whether or not in future they want to hire you on permanent basis. This is very important. These kind of contents your employer need to mention in that letter, and this letter must be on letter on their letterhead, stamped and signed by the manager of the company or employer. So this is the income requirement. You need to enclose 3 sets of documents with your application to prove your employment income and to show that you qualify for income requirement. Now, next thing is going to be your English language requirement. English language requirement for spouse visa is A1 SAFR requirement. Make sure you do your English language from the right institutions which are acceptable by the UKBA. If this is not acceptable and you do the English language test from any other, for example, institutions which will not be accepted, and the level you need to do for your English language is going to be A1 level. A1 level for your listening and speaking skills. You do not need to do your writing and reading skills for this kind of application. You will only be doing A1 level of English language requirement, and you will be booking from either British Council, or you can ring them whether or not they qualify under the visa system. Now, the next requirement is going to be your accommodation requirement,
travel.
which is
How's it looking?
which is very important. For example, if you do not enclose the right document for your accommodations, your application will also be refused. As I said, you always need to make sure you enclose your 3 sets of documents. The first one is going to be your accommodation report, either from any property agent or from council within the UK. You need to ask the council or housing to do the accommodation report for you. Also, you will need to enclose your tenancy agreement or the title deed. If you own the home, your sponsor own the home, they need to enclose the title deed, which shows the ownership of the property. You will also need to enclose the letter from third party. For example, if this accommodation belongs to your parents-in-law, father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, then you will need to get the letter from them, no objection consent form. So you need to enclose 3 sets of documents. For example, to prove your accommodations, it has to be accommodation report. It has to be the proof of ownership, or if you are renting the home, tenancy agreement will be sufficient. Also, you need to make sure you enclose the no objection certificate from the third party if the accommodation is being provided from any other relative without recourse to public funds. So they are the requirements. First of all, we have actually discussed, I'm just going to repeat again about the relationship requirement, which is going to be your marriage certificate, which must be translated in the English language requirement. So it's very important you enclose your marriage certificate, valid marriage certificate. If you or your spouse has previously been married to any other persons, they must enclose their divorce certificate, proper divorce certificate, which is acceptable by the UKPA. If you need further information, what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, please contact me. You will find my contact details somewhere around here or below the description box. You can ring me anytime. You can ring me during the day, and then I will advise you what's the acceptable level of divorce certificate and what requirements you need to fulfill in order to be qualified to apply for successful UK spouse visa. So, relationship documents, we have discussed about the 4 types of documents. Number 1, relationship requirement, income requirement, English language requirement, and accommodation requirement. So these are the 4 basic requirements you need to complete before you can apply successfully for UK spouse visa. There are some other important things to actually disclose here, which is sometimes people cannot meet the requirement, income requirement or English language requirement, or they face the trouble in order to just pay the fee, and they do not want to pay the very expensive fee to the government or entry clearance officer. So in these situations, I will advise you, if you want to discuss your case, you contact me. My name is Barrister Shazia Anjum, and I have the legal experience for the last 15 years period. I'm helping people, I'm showing them guidance, and I'm just trying my best to actually get their goals. So you can ring me. I will advise you if you qualify for exemptions. For example, there are certain exemptions in order to financial requirement, English language requirement, and in order to pay the fee to government. So there are some exemptions. You might qualify under those exemptions where you get the benefit of those, but not every applicant qualifies under that route. If you ring me, I will make sure to give you right advice so that you know your rights and you are clear which applications you have to submit. Either you can go to my website, shazianjum.com, or you can ring me to find out further about the requirements, or you can ring me about the further templates or guidance. If you need something, I will provide with you for that. But if you really want me to submit your application to do the work for you, this will be chargeable, and then I will tell you how much fees you will need to pay for our services. मैं हूं बैरिस्टर शाजिया अंजम. नेक्स्ट टाइम के लिए इजाज़त दीजिएगा. अल्लाह हाफिज़.